Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Sports Related Wokeism Show. This is the show where we dig deep into the world of sports culture, which has been infested by wokeism. If you don't know what wokeism is a political agenda that whose aim is to use ignorance and arrogance to spread the liberal agenda of modern feminism, LGBTQ community, race, systemic racism, and also everything to do with equality. And we all know when they promote that agenda, it results into censorship of free speech, jail time for those who don't follow the fall in line, and at the same time, it can also lead to death. That is, if they are willing to even kill somebody. But hey, I'm your host Solomon Wafua. But on this side of the show, it's all about sports, not leaking much into politics. And my job is to share the stories with you and make sure that this is something that will help you to spark the conversation with your friends, with your loved ones who are not aware of such stories from wherever you are. And that's all we are going to do on this show. But thank you so much, everybody, for contributing in the previous episode. Really appreciate you. I know this channel is in its humble beginnings, and we're going to move forward, steadily. And we all know the channel will grow globally as time passes on. So, yeah, that's a little bit of an intro. And today, of course, the title of this episode is that the woke hates religious freedom. Now, the reason why I bring up that title is because one of the reasons why the woke agenda is so popular is because of things like not putting God as their, not putting Christ as their Lord and Savior. And if you speak or preach Jesus Christ in a community or in an area or in the platform that you're given, then you're going to be ridiculed, you're going to be cancelled, and I said you're going to be jailed for just being yourself. If you are a child of God and you want to spread the gospel of Christ or the gospel of salvation, then of course you're going to have people who are going to be pissed off, people who are going to make noise about it and cry, violence and so forth, threats. But yeah, it's not only just in society or in the corporate world or even in entertainment, but also in the sports world. And I'm going to share with you the story of a certain high school, a Christian high school, that has been banned from participating in all sports, all because of expressing their religious freedom. And that school I'm talking about is a high school in America located in Vermont, in the state in New England, and that's called Mid Vermont Christian School. Now, this came from the report by Bounding into Sports, which is a conservative sports and entertainment blog website. And you all know, for those who have heard of that platform before and you are a conservative, I'm sure it's not new when you hear such stories, because it just goes to tell you that the woke community don't like religious freedom, or they don't like to hear the gospel of Christ. And even me as a Christian and as a conservative, these are the type of stories that I have to speak out and really share my opinion. You may hate it or want it, but this is just my opinion. Everybody has the freedom of opinion. And of course, there is the headline that's been said is that Mid Vermont Christian School has been banned from all sports following their girls' high school basketball team boycotting a tournament game against a team with a trans player. Now, as you all know what trans player is, trans player are people who transition from being a man biologically to now identifying themselves as a woman. And that's really crazy because they have realized that they are mediocre when they are biologically male. Then for them to dominate, they have to transition to being a girl or a woman, and they start breaking all types of records which no biological female will ever achieve. And so that is why they're being banned just for expressing their religious freedom. And of course, according to reports by the New York Times, which they reported late last year, they said that they were barred from all athletic play after forfeiting against the high school named Long Trail Girls that had a biological male on their team. That was when in February 21st. And of course, the post continues to say that the Christian PK-12 school says they were irreparably harmed by being denied participation. That's in quotes. And another quote saying losing out on playing competitive sports as well as academic competitions. Their lawsuit, which has been filed by the Alliance Defending Freedom. Now, these are an NGO whose job is to raise voices for those who have been wrongfully oppressed just because of expressing their conservative opinions or reserving their conservatism. So, really, you remembered in the previous episode I was telling you about the influx of transgender athletes. Then this is just a story that just needs to tell you the urgency of proposing a draft bill whereby you save amateur women's sports from kindergarten to high school to college. But at pro level, it's up to the individual leagues in the women's side to govern such issues. But when it comes to the education system, that is where wokeism is being radicalized and is being preached from primary to secondary to college in America. If they don't deal with it from the grassroots level, trust me, all the biological women will be endangered because of the transgender athletes. And of course, that's really bad to hear such stories like that. And of course, the school continues to say, according to the article, that they have done nothing wrong. Why? Because it is their right to stand up for female athletes and women's sports in general. Now, you can remember in the previous episode I mentioned that Riley Gaines is the one leading that front. Plus also Caitlyn Jenner, even though Caitlyn Jenner is a part of the LGBT community, she's trans. And I believe Riley Gaines cannot do it alone. She needs somebody who is a part of that community, but who is not thinking like they work, so that you can win this battle together, because two is better than one. And of course, the head of school at Mid Vermont Christian High School said of the ruling, whereby cancelling their membership is not a solution and it does nothing to deal with the very real issue of safety and fairness facing women's sports in our beloved state. That state is the state of Vermont, which is based in New England. Of course, the article was summarizing saying that fairness is right and trans ideology doesn't erase what's fair and what's not when it comes to reality. Now, what does that tell you? This is just a continuation from the previous episode, whereby the woks, they don't like a world ruled by men. That's number one. Number two, they don't like religious freedom. When somebody is preaching Christ, they don't like to hear such stories. That's why either they make noise or they use threats to be able to silence a conservative person. And of course, there are many others that they are trying to use. Of course, fake racism, so that you get a seat at the table, and at the same time using threats, or should I no, let's scrap that, try to beg for a position which they didn't earn. Those are the criteria they use to spread the woke agenda. And in this headline I've just shared with you is another evidence to tell you that it is urgent to pass a federal bill that protects amateur women's sports, because if they don't do that at grassroots level, trust me, biological women are endangered, and of course expressing their freedom as females will be also in danger. I imagine Title 10 is also in danger because it has helped them for 50 years until last year or so is when they started being infested with wokeism, and that is now also in jeopardy or in peril, whether they're going to include the LGBTQ community, and that is something that is going to break communities, going to break nations if they don't deal with it to its fullest. And so my conclusion of that story is that if religious freedom is being taken away in women's sports, or even sports in general, for women's sports outside America, then what will happen to the biological women? Will they be taken to jail just because they refuse to participate against a transgender? Or will they be killed? Or will they be cancelled? Or will they be silenced? Imagine such things. Just because you're expressing truth, biology, facts, and common sense, and the works don't like it. That means that wokeism is part of the satanic agenda if you want me to be religious. So it's really bad, and I hope that stringent measures need to be taken to really retract that ruling, because it's not fair. Not all schools are religious, but when they want to express their religious freedom, you can't force them to really bow down to the woke mob, because that is now being dictatorial, and that's what you are seeing in the Democrat states in America. So that's what happens when the leaders are woke and are being led by the blue states, aka Democrats. Then this is what they get. But hey, I pray there is glimmer of hope for that school, Mid Vermont Christian School, that their religious freedom will be brought back, and I hope they get back to competition, both at academic level and at athletic level. So that's it from me, Solomon Wafua. Thank you to everybody for tuning in from wherever you are around the world, in whatever time zone you're in. Make sure you put in your contributions in the comment section. I'll be glad to receive your feedback and even respond to them. And before you leave that page or that browser, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow and share this video with your loved ones, and start talking about it, and let's end wokeism with baby steps. And I know wokeism will end sooner rather than later. Yeah, that's it from me. Until next time, it's goodbye from me.